What's up, UA fam? Ashley here. And if you love this podcast and you actually find yourself re-listening to episodes and wanting more of Taryn and I, guess what? You should subscribe to our Supercast where we give you bonus content every single week. But not just basic episodes, we do interactive episodes like personalized AMAs where you can specifically ask Taryn how her dating life is going, and you can specifically ask me how it's been living with my boyfriend this past few months. We do solo episodes and even scary episodes because we know how much you guys love those scary stories. And our Supercast community has been growing exponentially, so don't miss out. Subscribe to Supercast now and join the fun. I can't.
What?
It's intro time.
Hey. Welcome back to another episode.
I feel like my mic's too far. I pushed it. It's my fault. There we go. She's back. Welcome to another episode.
I already said that. I was already like in my intro and
of
you just
Unsolicited.
steamrolled me. You're still steamrolling
Unsolicited.
me. No, I'm not until you acknowledge.
Oh my God, Taryn.
You're steamrolling me.
Do we start over now? Like, how do we move past this?
Should we end the podcast?
It's over. It's clearly we're never bouncing back from this one. This one was too much.
Hi guys. You know,
The intros. These intros.
here's what you need to know.
I just need to know if people enjoy them.
What?
The intros.
I think people enjoyed the intros when I used to do fun facts.
Well, yeah. You feel like you stopped?
Yeah,
When did
because
stop?
you bully me.
No, we moved past that. I got
Yeah, that's
bullied
true.
into
That's true. Submission.
keeping fun facts.
Yeah.
And then at some point they just died off on their own.
You know what? It's me. I'm the problem.
It's a lot of effort to find a fun fact.
But really, it is.
I have a fun fact.
But really, let me just take responsibility, okay?
Okay.
It literally
It's Taryn's
takes
fault.
2 minutes to Google something, but when I roll in here, I'm just like, I'm raring to go.
Yeah.
And every time we go to start, I'm like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I have nothing prepared.
Yeah.
So it's me. It's my fault.
I mean, it's my fault today too. I feel like I'm just dragging.
Yeah,
Your girl's
we
down
both
bad.
are in some weird states. Do
Yeah.
you want to say your fun fact you were just going to say before you forget?
Yes. Fun fact. Did you know that the woodpecker, the bird, has a tongue that goes all the way around its brain and then out through its beak, and it's used as an extra layer of protection for the brain so it doesn't get a concussion from all of the woodpecking it does. It's true.
That's disgusting.
No, it's brilliant.
The tongue wraps around its brain to
The
protect
tongue
it.
literally goes from the throat. It goes around the brain and then, so like over the brain, under the eyes, and then out through the beak instead of coming up the throat and out the mouth. And it's used as a layer of protection to protect the brain from concussion, essentially.
I'm going to need to talk to God about that one when I get up there, because why not just create extra padding? Like, why use the tongue for that?
You don't need extra pieces.
I guess.
Yeah, he took no extra pieces needed. Didn't have to go to the store to get more, something different. He was just like, oh, let me just elongate this and it'll be its own protection.
That's wild.
It's
I need
so
to
cool.
see pictures of
No,
like,
I literally, it's
the anatomy.
So cool. And it was a fun, I saw this whole thing on TikTok, and then this weekend we did some family camping. I literally dragged my sister and we did family camping and it was so much fun.
her TikTok was funny. I just at this age,
yeah.
I don't think.
I did film that for her. And there were so many woodpeckers around us, and I had a whole Taryn moment where I was like, fun fact, you guys, did you know
Yeah, you're welcome.
that woodpeckers have like the longest tongue?
All I'm trying to do is like equip people with like conversation starters.
100%, totally.
How many things have we learned from fun facts with
Well,
Taryn?
see, the issue with that is I just have short-term memory, so
Yeah,
I
true.
couldn't tell you
True.
a single one.
True.
And
Very
that's
valid.
a problem. I had a moment actually recently. I've been reading a lot the last few years, and some of the books I loved the most, if people
Go on.
ask me about them, I don't think I could tell you what happened.
Yeah.
And that's embarrassing.
It's okay.
No, it's not okay.
But it's okay because it's not like you're doing it on purpose.
Yeah, I know. But also I'm just like, is there an exercise I can do? Some like brain exercises to get that a little better? Because
Probably. Some puzzles.
That's wild. That's wild.
Yeah. Me and Ash recorded a Supercast earlier. And if you subscribe to Supercast, then you heard about this already.
You know.
But we both are just saying kind of like how would you describe it in one word?
Chill?
I wouldn't say chill because
mellow.
Chill, I would choose to be chill. I would not choose to be the mental state.
Yeah, I'm definitely not chill. I feel like I'm just dragging. I'm dragging. Guys, I'm going to paint a picture for you. Literally, honestly, I'm grateful. I'm so glad that it worked out this way because I went camping this weekend and I did not have my period. I thought it was going to start Friday. It didn't. I was like, that's a win. Thought it was going to start Saturday. It didn't. I was like, thank you, Jesus. That is a win. And then Sunday came, didn't have it the second I got home. I kid you not. Like I had to pee the entire drive back. The second I got home and finally peed, I was like, there she is. Hey. Right on time. And she didn't happen during camping because I sat her down and I said, please don't come during camping.
It's not the most convenient place to like have.
But I've always had really bad back pain and cramps. And so they're hitting right now. And I didn't sleep good. And I'm just moving slow. And then on top of it, Taryn shows up and her allergies are bad. My allergies are bad. So we're just a mess. We're dragging.
So this weekend I went to Palm Desert with my family. Fun. Dad and brother played in a golf tournament. And so all of us went.
Which brother?
Ryan.
Okay.
So all of us went, the kids too, and just like laid by the pool and did stuff. But it's the first time my white booty has seen sun. And I think I got a little bit of like heat exhaustion because like last night I had the worst headache. I've been just kind of like lagging today. So I feel like I'm just like feeling it.
Yeah. You're feeling it with the sun. I'm feeling it with the period. I could like tell, like yesterday I could feel myself getting annoyed.
With like everything and anyone?
Everything, little noises. And I was just like, Ashley, it's time to go take an everything shower. And I put my podcast on and I did my everything shower. And then Jackson was like, do you want to watch this show? I was like, yeah, but I need a sec.
Not with you.
I ended up cleaning. I listened to my podcast. I did a sheet mask. I did all my things. And then I finally come over and I was like, I'm ready. And I could just, there's such a difference between, and obviously we all know this if you're a female, but like the when your period's about to start and you like wake up one day and you know when you're ovulating. It's just like this obvious like contrast of like your body just lets you know. And my telltale sign is everyone annoys me. Everyone annoys me. Ovulating, I'm just like, I'm really into myself and I'm like, oh my God, I'm looking pretty good. Period comes, I'm like, I can't wear anything. Trying to find like the baggiest pants I own. Still doesn't look good. It's crazy.
Yeah. Me and my body don't communicate very clearly with each other. So
wow.
I would love to.
Mine's like, good morning.
Know that, but no. We just kind of, we're strangers in the night. We just kind of coexist. And we're not really aware of each other's issues until it's too late. But
no? Well, let me paint you a picture of
Ashley, you've said paint you a picture like 3 times.
Have I really?
Yeah. That's your new phrase. That's your new one. You know how you recycle like things that you say?
No, because I literally don't remember saying that today.
For sure once. But
I
think
literally
twice.
don't remember. I hate that I said literally twice. I don't remember saying that phrase multiple times.
You said, let me paint you a picture. And then you talked about camping or your period or something.
Okay. Well, let me run it back and not say that. I have been trying for literally like a year and a half to plan some kind of like family camping excursion. Alicia has a really tough schedule to work with. And then like we all have dogs. And so like finding sitters is like a whole thing. I finally get it to happen. I'm so excited. I'm determined to get my mom and sister to camp on BLM land, which is like Bureau of Land Management land, which is how Jackson likes to camp, which means there's no campsites, which means there's no bathrooms, which is a big deal for, girls. And I was like so excited for them to like try it and experience it for the first time. And my sister like really doesn't really want to go, but she's like being a trooper and is like, yeah, like I'll go, I'll make it work. My mom's so excited. My dad's so excited. And then like a few days before, and I sent like a packing list of all the things they're going to need. And I was like, don't worry about anything else. Like, I'll buy everything else. Like, it'll be good. My mom sends a photo of something that she purchased for the weekend. I kid you not. It is a top-notch 5-star luxury camping van with a shower, with a toilet, with a running sink. Yes, it has a microwave. It has a stove. And I was just like, what? Was this necessary? And she's so excited about it. And I was like, how expensive was this? And it was kind of, I mean, it was like reasonable, but it was like,
did she like rent it?
She rented it.
Oh, okay.
She literally rented it for the weekend, which is like so fun. And then I look at it and I'm like, this is a nice van. And I'm like, should we be taking it on like the dirt road that we're going to be taking it on? And Jackson's like, I don't know. It looks kind of big. Do you think, I don't want it to get scratched. Like, should we tell her to cancel? And I was like, just let her live.
Yeah.
I was like, just let her. She's very excited about this weekend. Let her live her life.
Do you think she bought it by herself, or do you think Alicia?
Nope. She
influenced?
Spent her own money.
Wow.
To rent this camping van. And
I could see Alicia being like, Mom,
I don't want literally. Exactly. The two of them slept in it. The two of them used the toilet. I used the toilet once. It was nice. The running sink was nice, but like, it was like so funny because like the vision that I had in my head of like us was like, it's not exactly the way it happened, but that's fine. Cause that's like, it was just so, I think what she wants is to like get an RV or a van, kind of like your parents have.
Yes.
And this was like her chance to like try it out. So it was just really funny because my dad is literally, he has his own tent with his own cot that he's like camping in. Jackson and I are camping in his car. And then we're like going to the bathroom in the bush, and like I'm rinsing dishes in the like creek, and they're over here with their like generator
watching TV. Like,
And then she like tells me she like spent $20 extra so that they could have, what's the Elon satellite? Starlink in the van. Didn't use it once.
Yeah.
I'm just like, what?
It's giving like, you know, in Goofy movie when like they're camping and then PJ and his dad pull up.
Yes. That's exactly what it felt like. It was like the like roughing it side of the campsite and then the like glamping side of the campsite. And it was just really funny. So like if someone like walked up and saw like the contrast, it was pretty cute. But it was so much fun. And I'm such a camping girl now. And I got a lot of, my whole goal was for like everyone to like walk away feeling rested and to relax in whatever way they needed to relax.
Yeah.
I literally read a whole book, start to finish. Like I did a Frida McFadden, Never Lie, I think was the title. It was a very easy read. So I literally just finished the whole book. Alicia read and finished one of the Throne of Glass books. Like we were on our reading kick. I was like, don't bother me. We had a hammock set up. I was like, don't bother me.
Yeah, I'm busy.
It was so fun. It was so nice. I want to do a lot of camping this summer.
Yeah. Are you finally going to take me? Because I've literally been trying to invite myself for like
I know.
2 years.
I would love to do one with our like group from church.
Why can't I just come?
No, yeah, you can.
Okay.
I just meant like I would also love to do like specifically a group camping with everyone. Yeah.
Yeah. Cool.
Shall we
let's like get into it because my brain is like not working. So it'd be nice to like
should we like get into it?
To like read something and then maybe spark a thought.
Perfect.
If one's in there.
Okay, well, let's go ahead and get into the tearing it up for today so we can all get a good laugh. This one is titled The Day My Pants Betrayed Me, a tearing it up.
I've had that happen before.
Yeah. Hello, gals. Ooh, gals. That's fun. I love the pod and am a Supercast listener. Y'all truly make my week. I had to write in with a very tearing it up moment that happened a few weeks ago. I've been trying to show up to class looking a little more put together. So I put on this pair of cute, flowy green striped pants. I'll attach a picture so that you can see the vision. Okay. So they're like flowy, like linen style striped pants, which I swear I have the same ones in blue, not green. She says, they were maybe a little too long on me, but I was feeling the look. Fast forward to after class. I'm walking to my car, minding my business when my usual clumsiness kicks in. I stumble and I manage to step directly on the hem of my pants. And that's when I feel it. My pants fall down.
Oh God.
Like down. My butt crack is fully out, fully exposed to the entire world, and I panic and yank. I don't know why I said that weird. And yank them up as fast as humanly possible. I immediately run and get into my car, only to turn and see that there was a guy in the car next to mine, and he saw everything. I was going to say literally, and then I was like, no, we're going to stop. And then now I felt like I drawed attention to it. So I'm just going to call it.
I'll draw attention
I'm going to start creating some accountability for how many times I say that word.
I really think we should make like a drinking game post. Yeah. And it's like when Ashley says literally, when Taryn says, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think that could be super fun.
Well, I think that's why I have a hard time editing my own stuff. I do, obviously, but especially with this podcast, because it's so much talking, I would want to kill myself. I'm going to be honest. Yeah. Like I can't handle listening to that amount of me.
Same.
I would just be like, you know what? Let's close shop. I don't want to do it anymore. Anyways, he saw everything. And then to add insult to injury, a guy from my class walks around the corner and stares directly through my car window and gives me a look of someone who also definitely saw everything. I wanted to die on the spot. I immediately called my mom and said the most embarrassing thing just happened. And without skipping a beat, she goes, "What did you do now?"
Yeah.
Honestly, I started a running list of things that would only happen to me, and this might have just taken the crown. Thanks for reading. I hope you got a good laugh out of my suffering. Love you gals.
We did.
That's the worst.
There's nothing worse. I think this is like like what body part would you like if you had to like have a wardrobe malfunction? What body part would you be less embarrassed if people saw?
Boobs.
Really?
Yeah. Anything below my waist? No.
I feel like butt is way less embarrassing because like everyone has like a butt.
Yeah, maybe. I guess with like bikinis and stuff, it's not. Yeah, maybe I.
Yeah. I feel like
if I'm having a cute butt day though,
then it's like slack.
Yeah, and it's like is underwear involved?
I don't know.
Because in my head I'm like, if underwear is not involved, then boobs. But if underwear is involved, butt.
But see, butt is less. I feel like boobs, especially if like a guy saw it, they'd be like, oh my gosh, like drooling. And that makes me gross out.
Wouldn't butt be the same?
Butt is like a butt though. It's like a second of a butt.
Butt's like booty.
Nah.
Yeah.
I think less.
No, there's butt guys out there.
Yeah, but that's like you see butts all the time everywhere. Like watch any music video that has a hip hop beat, you'll see a butt.
Yeah.
But like boobs, it's like you have to work harder.
Good question, Taryn.
Thanks.
Let's ask the people. What would you say?
Shall we go into our first story? Okay. This one is titled, "Why Do I Still Crave Male Validation When I Have the Most Amazing Boyfriend?"
Ooh, interesting.
Interesting. It's so hard because there's certain things that are just natural human instinct.
Yeah.
And it's so hard when like certain things happen and there's like guilt tied to it. And then you like start to overthink like, oh my gosh, does this mean this, and this? When like sometimes it's just like natural things that can happen. But what matters is like what you do with it.
100%.
100%. Okay. Hey, Ash and Taryn.
Hey.
I want to start by saying thank you for all your guys' inspiring advice.
You're welcome.
I've been listening for 3 years now, but I've been watching Alicia and you guys since I was 9. Well, I feel ancient.
What?
9?
Wow.
Okay.
What is that? Oh my God.
Like love it, but like also feel so old.
Whoa.
Oh my gosh, my sunburn is making me so hot right now. I would like to stay anonymous, but you guys can know my name. My name is please bleep it, Michaela. I am an Enneagram 9, Ash,
my queen,
and 20 years old. Okay, so here's the story, and I'm sorry if this gets long. For background, I was in a very abusive relationship when I was only 14 years old. Yes, 14. Most people never believe me to this day. I don't always believe myself and have always diminished the situation. He was very verbally, emotionally abusive, calling me fat, ugly, worthless. He even made me do things I did not want to do because, quote unquote, It was the only way he knew I loved him.
Yeah.
I'm very curious. I don't think she ever says how old he was, but I'm like, for 14, like a 14-year-old to act like
Pretty
that,
intense.
that's crazy.
Yeah.
As you can tell, he was a very manipulative person who was a serial cheater as well. I would be confronted by people about him cheating, and when I would show him the screenshots, he would say they were photoshopped.
Yeah.
Okay.
Got it.
If I ever upset him, he would say we had to go on a break. These breaks would last for however long he'd like, and it would happen often. Eventually, he broke up with me through someone else, leading into my freshman year of high school.
The audacity.
It's like the audacity, but also they're 8th graders.
I mean,
So it makes sense. But then the way he's treating her and how toxic he is like,
so adult.
yeah.
It's like a mature. It's a mature.
No,
toxicity.
honestly, it's a damage. Like you don't just treat people like that. So I'm very curious what his upbringing looks like.
I was literally, Taryn, I said literally. I was just about to say the toxicity he's probably copying because he's seen before.
Exactly.
Handling that kind of confrontation is normal for 8-year-olds to break up through someone else. They probably got together through someone else. So
yeah.
that tracks for me. But yeah. Maybe that's why the abusive side, it feels so like mature.
That's very scary and odd.
Don't like that.
Okay. It didn't end there because he still had this emotional hold on me, and we talked a lot still till the end of freshman year. You can imagine freshman year is hard on its own, but going through this as well, I had thoughts of ending it all. Oh. Poor baby. Not to bore you with the nitty gritty. Didn't my Supercast email say nitty gritty? I remember because I stuttered on it. Are we bringing back nitty gritty?
Our new merch.
I'm down. Okay, nitty gritty. But I think it is important to also note that when I was 16, so sophomore year of high school, I had a coworker in their 20s who also manipulated me into things and told me never to tell anyone. I just want to I want to hug you, but I also want to time travel and mama bear the crap out of these people in your life because it is disgusting. It's disgusting when anyone forces anyone into anything, but when there is that age gap and someone is older using I just
totally.
I'll fight. Fast forward to junior year, I had left my high school to start a career in tech school. I went in for cosmetology, and it was the best decision I had ever made. I met a guy, we'll call him Justin. He was the first guy to ever truly see me and respect me. We became really good friends, and I ended up catching feelings. However, he had a girlfriend, and things never lined up. I was always okay with that, but my feelings never went away. Fast forward even more to my senior year of high school. I found my way back to God, was going to the gym and dropped 30 pounds. I had finally found myself and was very content in life. I talked to my parents about my past and everything I had gone through. I ended up meeting a guy who I've been with for almost 3 years, and the talk of engagement is in the air. Our love story is personally my favorite, but that's a good story for another time. I'm now 20, starting my own company for wedding hair and makeup, looking into houses and engagement rings. Life truly has been on such an incline. I have the most amazing partner a girl could dream of. My only issue is, why am I searching for male validation elsewhere now? No, I don't want to cheat on my boyfriend, and I don't want any other guy than him. However, remember Justin? Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, he came back into the picture as of last night. I feel like crap because now I've been craving his attention and find myself waiting for him to respond to me. I guess my question is, what do I do? I know you're going to say to cut ties with Justin, but how? Right now, it doesn't feel so simple, as he was the first one to ever hear me after going through a lot with guys. Or is that just me giving an excuse to prolong what I need to do? Is this something I bring up to my boyfriend? I'm sorry this was so long-winded. However, I feel a lot better writing this out, and apologize for any punctuation errors. If there were, I didn't notice them, which means I struggle with punctuation as well. Love you guys. Here's a picture of me and my boyfriend.
Cute.
I know.
Y'all are just the cutest.
Okay.
I love the photos.
Love Anonymous. I actually am so excited to talk about this one because I feel like it's so clear to me what's going on, and it's so clear to me how to carry forward.
Oh, fascinating. Well, then why don't you just like kick us off?
Okay. I feel like from everything I've heard from people who've dealt with, I mean, you were basically sexually assaulted growing up.
Yeah.
Like that's very clear. Like the age difference, anytime someone makes you do something you don't want to do, like that's not right. And that has effects that can last.
Especially at that young of an age.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, period, no matter what age, right?
Yes.
But like, especially at the age that you are talking about, like that's formative stuff that we're dealing with. Your prefrontal cortex isn't even close to being finished. So that's going to like set the trajectory of your life, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And that's something you're gonna have to deal with, unfortunately, like handle and figure out and sort through.
But one of the most common things is that you seek validation from usually males. Like
because that was the abuser.
Because you were hurt, you create patterns, whatever it is. So I hope that helps you to like not feel as like guilty. Like that is something that can be common. That's something that just tells me like you still have some damage there going on. And so, I mean, obviously, like I say to like clockwork every story, but I really do think seeking therapy would be very beneficial for you to
100%.
kind of work through the patterns that have formed, the hurt that you have, like to heal some of that as you're getting ready to go into the next chapter of committing to someone. Like this is the perfect time to be doing that. But what I will say is once you recognize a pattern that is like has negative impact on you and comes from a negative place, that's where it's your job to like create some very specific and very unwavering boundaries.
Yeah.
Okay. So right now, your statements for this Justin guy is like, well, I can't just ignore him because of what he did for me. Like you're trying to build in like almost like an obligation that you have to him to like, I think help you not feel as inclined to just cut someone off. But it's like, okay, in you like honoring an obligation to him who really is not going to be a part of your life or has meaning in your life right now over the obligation you should have to this man you're committed to and like wanting to create a life with, that's where you know like it's not right. So to me, like, I think you definitely need to cut ties with Justin. And I think when you start to recognize that pattern coming of where you're seeking that validation, that's like a great time to do a self-check and to like do the things that like your therapist or self-work, what you would get from those things and the tools you would get from someone, because you can't help when those things come up, but you can help what you do when they do come up.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
No, that makes total sense. I think especially also like being in this newly engaged chapter of life also, I think what happens right now in the engagement chapter of life is setting the precedent for what is going to happen and how you will react and how you will treat things that come up later on in the marriage. And I think that's why it's so important to have like these really serious conversations with your partner. But I also think it's very important to have these really serious conversations with yourself.
Yeah.
So like, do I think you need to tell your boyfriend about this little struggle you're having? This little struggle you're having? No. I think this is self-work stuff. I don't think it's gotten that serious. If any action was taken, then maybe that's something you would need to sit with yourself and like talk to him about. But I don't think he needs to be involved in this because I think this is self-work that you need to like work on first and like take care of yourself. I think a therapist could be beneficial with that. I don't think this is anything that you need to like have him start worrying about necessarily.
No.
But I think it's really awesome that you're recognizing that this is like a bad thing and that this could turn into something like dangerous. I don't think it's dangerous right now. I think this is a very normal human reaction. Like, you used to like this guy.
Yeah.
Of course you have leftover feelings for him. Personally, that's why I think it's important to like not hang out with exes. And that's why I don't have exes in my life and I don't bring them around my partner, because if you've had feelings for someone, those are going to come back. And that is the most natural, normal human instinct thing. So I think it's very important how you handle this right now. And no offense to Justin, he's probably a great guy, but like, you clearly have a future with someone else. So your relationship with him just simply has to change.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying you need to be rude or, you know, like have this big dramatic cutting off of Justin. I recognize that he's a friend, but like you can start transitioning that relationship into a very arm's distant friendship out of respect for your partner. And this is setting the precedent for the beginning of the rest of your lives with your partner. If your partner was to be in this situation, like what would you want him to do?
Yeah.
Right? Like we wouldn't want him chatting with an ex that he had feelings for at one point, because those feelings are probably still there to a degree, maybe dulled, but like they're still there, they're buried, right? We would want that from him. So we have to do the same thing. And I think this is, again, such an excellent time to start like thinking that way and taking those steps, because that's what you're going to want to have set in place as a foundation for your marriage.
Yeah. Yeah. I've said it so many times, and I think like, it's one of those things where it's like, what's that phrase? Beating a dead horse or whatever. But
Beating a dead horse.
Yeah.
Beating a dead horse.
It's like when you like keep saying the same point, but it's like, oh my God, it's like already over.
I'm gonna have to look that one up.
You know,
beating a dead horse.
Nitty gritty. Every single bad decision that someone makes in life, massive bad decision, if you freaking Sherlock Holmes it and trace it all the way back to where it started, it's always with a very tiny, innocent decision. And that's why I think people get so like, oh, we have to be progressive and guys and girls can be friends and relationships and like blah, blah, blah. Yeah, maybe that works for certain people. But I also think I would rather be stricter with my decision making to set up my future self for a successful relationship than be able to like have all this freedom and do all this stuff. Like at some point you have to look at your life and be like, what is the most important? And then you gotta water it, fertilize it, feed it, whatever it is. Like you have to invest in the best decision for yourself.
Yeah.
And you know, every time like I've had friends that have cheated on partners or been cheated on. Like it's always it's like so innocent in the beginning.
Yeah, you
it's
can
like,
almost find exactly where it started.
Yeah, like, oh, well, I got her number because we were working on a work project. And then it's always like the most, oh, well, she was having a bad day. So like we got coffee after work.
Outside of that group chat.
Yeah. And it always like humans are built to build connection. Like you put two people in a room long enough and sprinkle in some like common ground, they're going to start connecting to each other. So I think so many people are like, oh, well, if it's my person, I won't be tempted to like, yeah, probably to an extent, but also you put yourself in a situation long enough, things could happen.
And also it doesn't necessarily have to have happened or something bad had to have happened. I wouldn't want my partner to even question me.
Yeah.
And I think that is where we need to kind of like set the bar.
Yeah.
Like I would hate to hang out with a group of friends and know that Jackson doesn't like this one guy, you know, like I wouldn't even want him to worry about that. That shouldn't even be a thought that comes in his head, because I want us to be like, so in tune in that way. And I realize like life happens and sometimes you're not that in tune, but that's why these boundaries need to be set
For sure.
for when that happens, right?
Well, and it's always so funny because like the story too, it's like, you know, I'll hear these guys that are like, well, I didn't want to be rude and not respond. And again, I'm like, so you're worrying about the feelings of an ex-girlfriend or a coworker instead of thinking about the person that you love and are committed to and how that interaction could impact them. Like, it's just, I think people get so wrapped up in technicalities and like whatever, and they don't look at the bigger picture of just being smart and just thinking ahead and being like, you know, I don't even want to put myself in that position to make the person I love feel uncomfortable or to open myself up to temptation. Like, it's not worth it.
I knew a girlfriend whose boyfriend, literally kept ending up in situations where she was around an ex of his. And it's because he's Mr. Social Butterfly and he loves to like not hurt feelings and remain friends with everybody. And it like tore her apart.
Yeah.
And I remember looking at Jackson, I was like, have I ever been in that situation without knowing it? Like, have I ever been around one of your exes? And he was like, no. And then he literally stops everything, looks at me, and he was like, have I ever been in one of those situations? And I've been like, no, like I would not. And even there was a guy once that I kissed once and we never had a relationship. When I saw him and like Jackson was there, I like told Jackson, I was like, hey, heads up. We kissed once, like it literally nothing happened, but like, just so you know, like, and I don't hang out with him ever. He's a great guy, but I respect that, like, that's not us, you know? And I don't want that to be us. And so I feel like all you have to do, Anonymous, is figure out where you want to set that bar for yourself, for your partner, and for like your future marriage.
Yeah.
And then just like set that bar and don't budge it.
Yeah. And that's like, we're talking about like just everyday typical interactions that we have to be careful with. You add on top of that damage from a past that specific type of damage usually results in that seeking male validation.
Yeah.
So that's why I just think like you really need to either like do a lot of self-work or go to therapy and seek help for how to combat that and how to like go in and heal those things that make you crave that validation. And then on top of that, building in boundaries and just things to just protect yourself.
Totally.
And then move on from there.
MoveOn.com.
I think like, honestly, it's when people stop themselves and are like, oh my gosh, am I a bad person? Like, I'm like, no, you're a good person because you're thinking about it.
Yeah.
And like
the fact that you even wrote in about this, clearly you're a good person. You have good intentions.
So I agree with Ash. I don't think you've done anything wrong to where you need to like tell your boyfriend, but I do think this is like what's it called? Litmus test. Like you can see that like, okay, there's something there that's causing this. Justin needs to go. Like, don't even worry about hurting his feelings. Just stop responding. Like,
so self-aware of you.
If you feel like it's too much of a temptation, then that's where you need to like unfollow, block, whatever you need to do. But your loyalty is in your relationship now and the future you guys are moving towards. But I think you're going to be fine. I think we're aware of it now. So now just our next steps need to be intentional.
Yeah. Now let's take some actionable steps. Thank you so much for writing in, Anonymous. This is one of those things that I think most people should have like a conversation.
We've all had that moment where we're like, oh, that felt like icky. Like, should I have not said that or done that? And I think that's where, you know, like you care about a person. Like you don't want to impact them in a bad way.
Yeah. And the longer you live, the more you realize like instances like that are going to continue to happen. So you got to give yourself grace for when little things like that happen. But then also that's a good learning point of being like, okay, clearly that shouldn't happen again.
Like noted.
You know, got it. Okay. You know, that's not going to happen. All right, let's go ahead and get into mine. This one is titled Help. My mom doesn't approve of me moving in with my boyfriend.
Ooh, spicy. No, just kidding.
Hi, Ashley and Taryn. My name is which you can both know, but I would like to stay anonymous, so bleep it, Michaela. I have been watching you both since pre-school Leisha days and have loved watching you both evolve and grow up. I need to apologize. I feel like I recently, me and my sister like put on old vlogs to show a friend in Jackson one night, and I was so cringe.
The high pitch
No,
voice.
I couldn't even watch it. I was getting so uncomfortable and I couldn't sleep that night thinking about how cringe I was. I'm literally like I'm like, I keep telling myself not to, but I'm like on the verge of just like privating like the whole like first 5 years. No, I said literally, I can't stand it. And I'm so sorry that you had to watch that, Anonymous, because I'm sorry that I made it.
But that was that time.
Oh, no,
Everybody was
bad.
doing it.
Oh my God, it was so bad. Okay. Anyways, she continues. Ashley, congratulations on your engagement. I'm so happy for you and even cried when I saw your post. I have never seen someone look so purely happy as you do in those pictures. Taryn, I am so happy you have found someone who is kind as well after everything you have been through. You both deserve it times a million.
Girl.
I know, I'm like, that's so sweet. I am writing for the first time because I am really facing a tough situation and am unsure, big difference, how to navigate it. I am moving in with my amazing boyfriend of 2.5 years at the beginning of July, and I'm very excited, but my mom is not. I come from a very traditional family and have 3 younger sisters, and my mom has always told us that you should never live with someone before you get married. After many conversations with my boyfriend, we decided that we wanted to take the next step to move in together. For context, we are both 22, met in the first week of college at 18, and have been inseparable ever since. We started dating sophomore year of college after being friends for a year. I graduated this past December and he graduated a few weeks ago in May. We both have full-time jobs that we got with our degrees and are financially independent from our parents. I have been financially independent from mine for quite some time and have been living alone in an apartment alone, paying my own rent for over a year now. I also bought a car a few years ago on my own and pay for my own phone bills, etc. I wanted to give that context so you can both see that we are functioning adults and don't depend on our parents financially, because obviously that is a factor when it comes to moving in with a significant other. I had a feeling that my mom would be disapproving of this decision, but I honestly had no idea how badly the conversation would go. When I told her and my dad that we had decided to move in together, she had a horrible reaction and told me that she disapproved. She didn't understand why I would make this decision, that she was disappointed in my boyfriend for not wanting to commit to me, and that I would be setting a bad example for my younger sisters.
Dude, all of those things, especially if you've had like strict parents or you still like care what your parents' opinion is, all of those statements are like
boom, boom,
dagger, dagger, disappointment, bad
stab.
Dab,
I was just dab.
Like oof, like everything she said, I was like,
yikes. This obviously hurt my feelings really bad, and we have only talked about it once since then. She told me that she thinks my boyfriend is taking advantage of me and wants us to be married before taking that step because moving in together is part of the excitement that comes with marriage. My dad, on the other hand, has been very supportive throughout the whole conversation and has been working on the side to get my mom on board, but with no success. He has reiterated to me multiple times that he trusts me and any decisions that I make and knows that I will always do what is best because that's what I have always done. My parents are very traditional and religious, my mom specifically, and dated for about 9 months before getting married. They have been married for over 20 years and are an obvious success story, but I just think times are different now and this is not as common as it once was. My whole family and all my friends love my boyfriend, including both of my parents, sisters, grandma, and best friends. Literally no one has ever had a negative thing to say about him, so that is not a concern here. I think she's just grappling with the idea of me doing something she disapproves of because I have always been the older sister that does everything purposefully, and my parents have literally never been upset with me ever. I'm really struggling with what to do / how to navigate our differences in opinions, as I have a very close relationship with my mom and we never have issues speaking about things / disagreements. Me and my boyfriend have already signed the lease, and I'm not going to change my mind about what I want to do and think is best. While we do absolutely want to get married and are on the same page about getting engaged later this year / early next year, this makes the most sense financially, logistically, because we are together every night and will each be able to save almost $1,000 a month on rent, which is obviously a lot since we're newly grads. I also don't want a wedding fund from my parents and will have to cover those expenses on my own, which is another huge factor to this decision. I'm sorry this is so long. I hope it all makes sense and that I provided enough detail. I'm excited to hear what you both have to say about how to navigate this and hope that this story gets read on the pod. P.S. I've attached a few photos of our graduation photos together for reference. Love, Anonymous.
This is so interesting because I literally just had a conversation with my parents about this topic. And I mean, I think it'll be interesting because Ash went through this very same kind of like scenario, obviously, which with better success with your parents. But also, like, I personally am someone who has definitely leaned more towards like traditional old school stuff. Like, I've always wanted to like date, then get married, then have a baby, like do all the things in like that traditional order. But like what I was saying with my parents, who are also like religious and conservative too, I was like, I definitely feel like what we're all currently watching happen with relationships nowadays is not the same as what they went through. Like, not only surface things like rent, like holy crap, the amount I'm paying for rent by myself is like wild.
It's dumb.
Wild.
It's dumb.
So not only like cost of living, all of those things, but also like I have seen so many people, and I'm talking like young people, do everything the traditional quote unquote right way and end up with these people that are terrible humans and like divorce. Like so many people I know now, my age and younger, are going on their second marriage.
Yeah.
Because it's like you rush into doing these things like the quote unquote right way and then end up getting married and with these people that you're like, who is this person? Because you didn't see so much of who they were in dating.
Yeah.
So it's like one of those things where I'm like, you can have opinions about, I see why that is beneficial to do it in that timeline. But I also feel like the amount of toxic people out there that people are fooled into being with is at an alarming number. And I also have seen the other side of a lot of people getting out of what could have been terrible relationships because they did move in with them first or did things in an untraditional order.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And I'm 36, so there's a big age gap between me and you, Anonymous. But I think there is a big problem with cookie cutter lifestyles, beliefs, traditions, religions, whatever you want to call it, because every relationship is so different. And I do think there used to be and is good that can come with following those traditional rules in specific situations. I think they can be great, especially like for girls, like trying to not get pregnant at a young age so that you can like live your life, do careers. Like I think there's reasons behind those beliefs that are awesome. And I think there are excellent reasons behind more untraditional things that are awesome. And I think when it comes to this specific conversation, I think you need to be very open and honest with yourself about why you want to do this. And I think that's something that I needed to do, which is so funny because I did this very recently and you're at such a different age than I am. I was a mess. I'm like thinking of myself at 22 and I'm like, yikes, talking about that cringe era.
Us like in our like late 30s still are terrified of our parents' disapproval. Like,
yeah,
I think like any age it's scary, but when you're younger, I think your parents feel like they have more of a pull in like what you can or can't do.
Yeah. And that's what I was going to say is I feel like the fear radiating off of your mom probably more so has to do with your age.
Yeah.
I would think, because at that age, me and my mom were dealing with a lot of stuff too. And I think most of it had to do with my age.
Yeah.
But I think if you're going to try to win your parents over to show them your side of things, I think you have to talk to them like an adult. And I think what you told me was pretty fair and accurate. Like, you don't pay for my life. I'm completely self-funding myself, and I've been financially independent, taking care of these things. We have an agreement, me and my partner, that we are planning on getting married, and now we're trying to set ourselves up for success, both financially and, you know, emotionally, spiritually, like all of these things. And in order to do all of these things, like it makes the most sense for us to move in together. That's how it was for me and Jackson. And I think it's a very personal decision, but I think at the end of the day, it's your life. And I don't think you should be living your life based on your parents' beliefs. I think if you're doing it with plans for setting yourself and your future life up for success, I don't see anything wrong with that. I personally don't think that you could ever possibly fully know someone until you live with them. And I think a lot of work can go into the dating aspect pre-marriage that can get you like mostly there. And then you got through the thick of it, and then you'll find little things through marriage. I do think jumping into marriage quickly results in you just fully not knowing the person.
And I'm going to jump in. I think like what you're touching on is like, that's where the whole issue lies, right? Like there are pros and cons to both. And when you have a foundation of a family who is religious and conservative, it's where you have to come from an understanding of why she's having a hard time with this. And there's a way to acknowledge those fears and to acknowledge those beliefs. But then, like you said, to present your way, hoping that she might not agree, but she can understand and respect.
Yes.
I do find it very fascinating.
You worded that really well. Good job.
Thanks, Ash.
Good job.
I find it fascinating that most of her responses were towards her just assuming that your guy is like, it was very like damsel in distress-y. Like,
yeah.
Very he's taking advantage of you. He's manipulating you into this. Like, that's very interesting to me.
Especially when you're like, Mom, I'm trying to get married. I'm the one manipulating him, you know?
It's so funny. I think it might just be something where she's just going to need to have her time. Obviously, like, you're not changing your mind. So I feel like you've heard her out. You've presented your thing. It's interesting that your dad is like, I get it, girl, you know? But I think there is a point where you have to figure out like what it is that you want. Like, I know I'm at a place in life, I would freaking love to do things in those orders. But if I ever get to a place where my decision is between having a baby and then waiting out until I got married and have a baby, like, and I have to have a baby on my own or whatever, that's my priority in life. Like, I want to be a mom.
Yeah.
So if I have to pick a baby out of a catalog and like have a baby on my own, like, I will do that.
Yeah.
And there will be so many people that are like, that's not natural. You need to get married and have faith that your man. Well, I don't know where he is, God. Okay.
Yeah. That's like, not natural.
Like,
wow.
I'm just saying there's so many opinions and thoughts and whatever. But at the end of the day, you have to have faith that like you are a good person and you know what's best for you. And it'd be different if you like met this guy while you were on vacation in Spain and just moved it. Like, you really, not saying that's wrong if that's your story.
Yeah.
But I just feel like
sounds romantic as hell.
You sound very responsible, and this sounds very thought out and intentional. So this might just need to be you understanding why she feels that way. And as long as like you guys can create a relationship outside of it, maybe you just don't talk about it.
100%.
Maybe she never wants to come to your apartment.
100%.
She can make that choice. She's a big girl, but you can also make your choice because you're a big girl.
Yeah. It's one of those things where you just have to do what's best for you. And it's hard. And I do empathize with you. Like, it's really hard when you know that they view you as living in sin. That is hard to wrap your mind and your heart around. But if you want, this is where the question comes into place. If you want your family to be a part of your life, and have them like accept your choices, then what I've learned is every time I clearly communicated and continued to communicate and continued to try to explain why I was doing things, the more on board my parents have always been.
And because then you don't seem wishy-washy.
Yeah. And when I've had these deeper conversations, whether it was like me starting to drink or me moving out or like partying a little bit or like having sex for the first time or
such a rebel,
moving in. No, at every stage of life, I have learned that the more I overly communicated with my mom and showed her that I was capable of making good decisions while also making decisions that she thought were poor ones, the more she began to trust me. And the more I've realized like the decisions that she has made were best for her and like helped her get through her life. And the decisions that I am going to make and have made are what were best for me and my life. And there's no point in comparing.
Because it's so different.
Because it's not the same.
It's so different. And I think like one of the best arguments you can tell a parent that is so like upset about something is like, is that how little faith you have in like the person that you raised? Like, I am a good person. I'm a smart person. And that's thanks to you.
Yeah.
And like what we've grown into. But like, is that really how little faith you have?
Yeah. And
that's
transparently,
how little confidence you have that I can make a smart decision.
Yeah. And transparently, like I've watched so many of our family friends, specifically my parents' friends, like older generations, go through the messiest divorces. Like actual soap operas. I'm sitting on the couch with my popcorn getting updates from my mom or them directly. And I'm just like, I can't believe.
And had miserable marriages the whole time.
They didn't like each other.
They didn't move in together.
Yeah.
And they waited for marriage for a lot of things. And I think that there is such a value in both approaches.
Yes, totally.
And there also is kind of a combined way to approach that.
I completely
you
agree.
can still wait and make decisions out of like waiting and trying to do things in the right way and very intentional. And so, you know what I'm saying? Like there's a way to do both and to put just as much weight and importance on a decision and still not do it the exact cookie cutter way.
Yeah.
But it sounds to me like you are. Like you see a future. You're not just moving in
with
a boyfriend for
guy.
fun. It's like, no. We're moving towards marriage, but right now, this is like where we're at.
Yeah. And I think the more that you can... I think one conversation isn't going to change her mind because it wouldn't change my parents' minds and it wouldn't change most people's minds. So I think what you need to do is kind of think of her as, I would give her even more updates and just kind of like clue her in on like what's going on and just be like, let her know like this is the love of my life and I am trying to set us up for success. And something that I think we can do now is move in together. And for me, like that was kind of one last thing that I wanted to make sure that I saw. And I hope Jackson thought the same way about me. Like I wanted to make sure that who Jackson was when I was dating him and we lived separately is the same guy that is who I'm currently living with. I needed to see that because I've heard so many horror stories.
Dude, so we have had, and I know we're both thinking of the same person.
We're thinking of the same people.
Friends that had the most amazing relationship and then they got married, moves in together. Within a couple months, they were like, I don't know who this man is.
Turns out this guy does this. Turns out he has anger problems. Turns out he's kind of abusive. Turns out he like punches a wall out of nowhere and then like
and obviously
is mean.
That's like they're rare specific cases, but I think that's the thing is everything is rare and specific. And as long as you are trying to go about your life in the best way that you can and make right decisions and stick to who like your standards and your beliefs and everything, like we're all just trying our freaking best. Okay.
100%. And what worked out best for your parents and what worked out best for my parents and Taryn's parents is beautiful. And I love that for them so much, but that doesn't mean that you need to follow the same rules because you are different. And I think you need to do what's best for you. And at the end of the day, I think that's kind of my summary is whatever you and your partner need, you should do. And if you want to include your parents in on that, I think that'll help them kind of come to terms with it. But also you're an adult and you don't necessarily need to. So maybe try to communicate that as well. Like, hey mom, like I love you to death and I want you to be involved in this. And I would love to like share all of this stuff with you and be able to have these conversations with you. But if you shut me down every single time, this is going to become less and less. And maybe to the point where I just don't share this stuff with you because you are an adult and she needs to treat you like one.
Yeah.
Sorry if I rambled, but I feel like this is a very interesting conversation.
Well, it's a very interesting conversation.
Especially just like growing up in church and like having watched very specific things happen over and over again.
Watching people do everything the right way and
quote unquote
still have the most traumatic outcome. And it's just, I think it's one of those things where it's just it's very hard to just throw around like, you need to do it, like, you know what I mean? Like, and I think there's ways to have those conversations and acknowledge that that's like the goal, but also like you have to look at each individual scenario, and the fears that come with getting married nowadays are so valid. Like, and it's not stuff that our parents had to like deal with as much, you know?
It also just wasn't talked about as like even divorce wasn't talked about as much back then.
God, I think the fact that like cell phones and texting and Instagram and like access to everything you want on the internet in the palm of your hand, it ruined us. It ruined people.
It's
like
scary.
It really did.
It is super scary.
The issues we have to deal with now and the hidden things we have to deal with and the people we try to date, like it's just not the same.
It's just not.
It's just
not.
It ain't.
No.
The math ain't math. No more.
It's not okay.
Anyways, thank you so much for writing in. I think this is a very interesting topic. And I think it's, I think it's interesting to talk because I do think like I'm still a minority. Like that's very like, I'm really holding out for traditional and all that stuff. But it's like, I just don't judge people in the way that they go about because like, it's just so different nowadays. And like, you have to do what's best for you. And, but hopefully your mom will come around. I really hope she will. I hope like once she sees you guys living and sees that it's like this beautiful, mature thing that she'll come around and not think like, oh, it's just these two kids eating TV dinners and living in filth. Like it's, you know what I mean? Like
in filth.
I just feel like hopefully with time, I'm so glad you have your dad's support. Like honestly, that's having at least one parent back you is wonderful.
Yeah.
All right, let's go ahead and end with a dad joke.
Let's do it.
I definitely have done this one again, but it just called to me when I was looking. So
let's do it.
What did the horse say after it tripped?
Something neigh. Ouch, my neigh.
Help, I've fallen and I can't giddy up.
Ah, giddy up. Did you hear me? Ouch, my neigh.
Ouch, my neigh. Oh, like your knee?
Yeah.
My neigh. That's funny, Ash.
Guys, if you made it to the dad joke, guess what? We love you the mostest. If you have a story that you would like to write in, that you would like advice on, email it to us. What's our email, Taryn?
Advice, unsolicitedpod@gmail.com.
Gmail.com. We love you so much, and we'll talk to you next time.
Love you. Bye.
Bye.